Already nearing the midway point here of our Just Beavin preseason power rankings, making our way through the 14 squads as we enter the 2026 season here in year five of Beaver Fest. Number 8 is on the docket today. Andy JP, the Beav himself, back here with you all. And if you've been tuning into the last couple episodes, we've had to make them multi-parters. The rosters are getting a bit more in depth. We have a lot more to say. With all due respect to the bottom few spots here in the league, some guys haven't filled out complete rosters, or there are guys that we either don't know much about or don't know at all on the back end. But that's a lot different now as we're near the halfway point here, looking at the power rankings entering this season. Fellas, how are we doing? It was a little bit of a weekend grind here, recording this on a Saturday. It's going to go out on the upcoming Tuesday.
Yeah, finally getting to talk about a team that I think has championship aspirations. Now, I'm not sure if that's possible, but I do believe those are the aspirations for Jack.
Yeah, getting in the heart of the stone, as people would say. These teams are going to be fun to talk about. These next, I think we got 8 left, right? Is that sorry, 8 or 7? It's going to be a fun little talk today, and I'm ready to get started. But did you guys see? They updated the projections, which were wild. Jack jumped up about 15 points, I think. I don't know if
Did
you
not
guys
see
looked.
this.
I don't know if you guys looked at that recently or not, but because he was
Are we talking for week one on Sleeper?
Yeah, week one, because he was projected, I believe, like 135 at one point, and now he's at 148, I believe.
Okay.
Damn, good for him.
Yeah,
No,
I know
I haven't
Sleep.
I haven't
It,
I haven't checked the sleeper app pretty much at all. Oh yeah, holy shit, I jumped up a fuck ton too. I'm at
Yeah,
yeah.
158 now. Me and Andy were like projected the same.
right. And that's how I was too, because I'm at like 145. I'm still projected to lose to Jake, but I was like, there's no way that this must be a lag or something. But no, they updated everybody.
I feel like it's around this time. We're recording this first week of August, so it's kind of right around this time where they actually get their real projections in for
Right.
week one. We are just about a month away from football, guys. That Wednesday night game, still so gross to say Wednesday night football is how we're going to start this season, but still very excited. And as you mentioned, we're looking at Jack Bauer's team today, a guy who's an inaugural member of this league and someone whose roster has really taken a positive turn here in the offseason with trades and such. Got off to a massive start of the offseason. We open up the league year every year right after the Super Bowl, and he made a big trade just days after. We'll start here, though, like we always do, breaking down all of the groups positionally on his roster, draft picks as well. We'll go through his team awards, and then we'll round things out by looking at his schedule, given the floor, the ceiling, and the record projection for him here in 2026. I'll start off here with the quarterback room. It's pretty bare bones, but it's not as bad bare bones as you want to say in terms of number. We're coming off Cam Crook's squad, who I believe rostered 9 quarterbacks, at least at the time of our recording. Jack's got 3, but he's got one of the best in the game, and Daniel Jones as well, right behind Drake May, a guy who had a really good season at Indy last year before injury, and then Cade Klubnik, who is out with New York. I have this room ranked at number 6. That might seem high for a group that doesn't have a lot of depth, but listen, when you have a guy of top end talent like Drake May and Daniel Jones at full health as well, we saw what he was able to do last year. When both of those guys are starting and healthy, that's pretty reliable and pretty dependable. You know exactly what you're going to get out of that group. It'll be interesting to see with Drake May, a Patriots team that went to the Super Bowl last year. They struggled mightily against Seattle in that game. However, the defense of Mike McDonald just truly incredible. What May was able to do last year, very impressive. One of the bright young quarterbacks in this game. There's no doubt about it that he's going to continually get better as he enters now another season in his career. And as well, like I continue to mention, health is wealth. If Daniel Jones is on the field, I'm pretty sure he's going to be good to go for week one. I'm not 100% positive. I don't know if you guys have seen anything or have dug into Daniel Jones. I know that was like a big question mark after he got hurt last year is, well, is he going to be able to go right away at the beginning of the season next year? If he can go from the jump, that's huge for Jack. But even if not, if he's got to wait for a little bit, Drake May is not a bad guy to have as your QB1. That's why it ranks 6 for me. When he's got both May and Jones at full health, that's a pretty good tandem.
Yeah, I also
Yeah,
got this QB room at 6 for literally everything you said. Although I don't agree with keep trade cut, I do not think Drake May is the second most valuable quarterback in Dynasty. That's a little preposterous for me, but yeah, I mean Drake May, young up and coming star, he brings kind of that not as an effective of a runner, but brings that Josh Allen-esque running style. So, I think as he gets older, he'll start running a little more, and I think they're totally gonna utilize that especially such a big body. I mean, on the goal line, I don't know why they don't run it with him more. It really doesn't make much sense in terms of fantasy. And then especially for Daniel Jones, I mean, coming off the injury, he might actually lose some of his, he had that game. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game, but they were just running the QB sneak with him on the goal line all the time. If I had to guess, I would say we're going to see less of that now coming off the injury. I know an Achilles injury and a QB sneak don't really go hand in hand, but just to kind of avoid putting him in those, 800 pounds laying on top of him type of situations. But Daniel Jones was still very, very good as a fantasy quarterback when he was healthy. And I think that the number 6 overall ranking shows what I think of May and Jones.
Yeah, I agree with what you boys said, but I got his QB room at 9 just because I look at this, I factor in that when May or Jones are on a bye, he doesn't have another quarterback to play in the flex, super flex, which I agree everybody has different points, different standards for that, and they can play another player but that. But looking at Jack's bench, and we'll go over that later, he doesn't really have anyone to play in his super flex. As Jack thinks, we all know how high he is on Cade Klubnik. He thinks that he's going to take over for Geno about week 10, week 11. I don't see that. I see Geno playing the whole year unless he gets hurt, which he might, but no one knows if that will actually happen. But once again, Drake May's a stud, and he's a future of the Patriots, and he's going to be a very good quarterback for this team for a very long time. So I got this QB room at number 9.
So the bye
I'm
weeks
going
really
to
bang you that much?
What's that?
The bye week situation really is a big factor for you?
I also think I do. It does factor me a lot, and I really think Jones might take a big setback in his injury, like JP said. I think he's going to be more of a pocket passer instead of running a lot. So I don't know. It's just I don't know. I have question marks for this QB room because if, for instance, Andy, if one QB goes down here, say May gets hurt week 2, okay, Jack has 0 picks. He has a second, a third, and a fourth. Okay. His top QB now is Daniel Jones, and then his second is Cade Klubnik. Do you think he's really going to be able to trade for a quarterback in this league for a second, third, or fourth round pick in 2029? I don't think
It's
so.
a fair argument. I mean, we haven't talked. You guys are going to talk about my team coming up soon, and I mean, I only have Herbert and Burrow, but then I guess I do have draft capital to where if one of them gets hurt, I can go.
Right.
I was just curious on the bye week how much that weighs in for you.
No, and
I'm gonna counter your Cade Klubnik point and say, why is Cade Klubnik never gonna see the field?
I just don't think he's going to see the field this year. I think Gino's going to play week 1 through week 18 the whole year. I don't see him unless he gets in that week 18 week and they're just god awful.
Yeah, but what if I mean if they're going into week 14 and they only have 4 wins, why is Aaron Glenn not gonna try and save his job?
Because I still think at the end of the day, I think Gino's the better quarterback, and I don't think he's just even going to care about Klubnik. I feel like they rather just take that top quarterback and Arch or whoever next year and roll with them because don't you agree if they get a top 10
So
pick next year,
yeah,
you're
so
not
wouldn't that further the point that Klubnik's gonna play? That they're probably gonna lose if Klubnik plays? And if Gino's
I
playing, it
mean,
increases their chance of winning. And if Klubnik is out there, and what if Klubnik looks really good? That could save Glenn's job. He could go
okay,
back and be like, we chose Klubnik.
I
Give
agree
me
with
another
that.
year with Klubnik
I
as the starter.
No, I do agree with that, but like, so it could be in the same situation. Like, what if Fleming looks really good in these first 4 weeks because there's no film on him, like we've talked about before, and then they don't take a quarterback in this upcoming draft in the first or second round, and then they roll with Club next year, and he's god awful because people have
That's
film on it
possible.
now.
That happens all the
Yeah.
time, but that's not my point. My point was that I was just countering you saying that Gino's going to play all 18 weeks. I don't think that's going to happen. Unless the Jets are
In the
encroaching on a
hunt.
wild card, yeah, in the hunt, then I don't see that happening. There's no way. Glenn's going to lose his job. He barely kept it this year. He's going to have to do something.
Right, I
I
see
think in the
both.
hypothetical, even if Klubnik comes in and plays well, if the Jets hold a top 3 or top 5 pick, guys, I still think they're taking a quarterback. Like,
100%.
Oh,
and then
100%.
Glenn can make the argument of, hey, look what I made the decision to start Klubnik. He played well. We have a top pick. Imagine what this team could look like in a third year with me, with a young quarterback who's a top 3, top 5 pick. I don't know. It's an interesting debate for sure. It'll be something to monitor in New York this year. Drew, you ended with the quarterbacks. I'll let you start here with the RBs. And we've had conversations. Some guys in this league have a lot of running backs, some do not. Jack falls under the latter category, he's got just 4 RBs in that.
Yeah, I got Jack's running backs at 11. Little small room like you said, Yak. I do like Javonte Williams. He's in a high volume offense, so I think that production is to stay the same. It's just whether he can stay healthy on the field. Tony Pollard, I do think having DeBoer there this year as the OC is going to help him a lot get out and get back to his normal game and catching passes and running through those holes. I do think that's going to help him. We just saw that they extended Skoronski to be the highest paid guard in the league. So, I mean, the Bull must really like him on that front five if he's that good to be the top paid guard or whatever. So, we could see some things over there. But I still want to have Jack come on the pod, boys, and describe to me what his thought process was drafting Kalen Black at 113 or 114, whatever it was. Like I still have visions when I go to bed and be like, what was he even thinking? Uh, maybe he has insider sources that we don't have, but I just don't see him getting on the field like I talked about like I've talked about past shows. I just don't see him getting any workload this year because I'm blanking on who the RB2 is there too. He's not even the RB2, but there's someone ahead of him that I can't even think of. And
Well, at this rate, if everyone keeps getting hurt in San Francisco, he's going to get a shot.
I agree.
That's
And
bad, man.
McCaffrey did play a full year, and I'm not trying to jinx it because I know he's on JP's team, but we could see McCaffrey get hurt. He's due to get hurt, and I know that sounds bad to every
No
player,
such
but
thing as due. No one is ever due for anything.
Yes,
due is not real. There's no such thing as due. You're not
especially
due for anything.
Especially in a negative.
For how injury
you're not due to get injured. You don't just go about life and then say, "Oh, you're due to get injured." That's not how that works.
I'm bound to twist my ankle in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh God, it's been so long since I've had ankle surgery. It's been 8 years now, so I'm due for a third one here soon. That's not how that works. You're not due for anything.
Whatever. But Ollie Gordon, my last point. I don't see a whole lot from him either. We'll see. But I'll give it to you, JP.
Yeah, Javonte Williams was pretty good. I think he's due for regression this year.
Go.
So,
do you think he's due to get hurt as well?
Well, it's really hard to say. Apparently, people are due for anything nowadays. But
Jesus Christ.
My point is, though, I do think that Williams, he had a really good year last year, and the offensive line is built for run blocking. Now, the only issue is Tyler Guyton is possibly a bust. He's a great run blocker, but if he cannot hold up in the pass this year, I think they find someone else to come in who can pass block, which will in turn then make the run blocking worse. And I'm not saying Williams is going to be bad. I just don't think he's going to have the same kind of numbers he had last year. Probably like 200 less yards. I don't know how many touches. Their defense got a lot better, so he may get more touches. It'll be interesting. Cowboys are a hard team to predict because I think their defense got better, but they also have 2 of the best receivers in football, so they need their touches. Williams, history of injuries, could be due for one. Could be due. Just the history of them could be due for one. Tony Pollard, on the other hand, I can't believe he's the running back 43. That's just ridiculous. I mean, he's still the starter. He's still clearly the most talented back. He had a great season last year. He was very productive, very effective. I know Daboll's known to use multiple running backs, but Pollard is far and away more talented than Spears and Singleton. I think he's going to have a heavy workload, and if the Titans are bad, I think he's a trade deadline candidate. Ollie Gordon pretty much brings nothing to the table at this point. I think Black is interesting purely off the fact that everyone in San Fran is due to get injured at some point during the season. So, and Jordan James is the name you were looking for, Drew. Jordan James is the running back.
There you go.
But I don't know how much merit that holds. I don't remember seeing Jordan James take a single snap last year.
I thought they had a guy, but no, it wasn't Jordan. I swear.
You're
thinking
of Eli Mitchell. Else.
No, he's thinking of Isaac Garendo.
There you go, Isaac Garendo. There you go. He's not the RB2?
No.
Wow. Okay.
He got fat and started fucking OnlyFans, bitches.
Oh, so he's Eddie Lacy. He's Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do you have the room ranked, JP?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. I have the room ranked 11th. What did you have it ranked, Drew?
11.
Nice.
There we go. Can we get the panel all 11s?
No, I'm at 13, man. I'm pretty low on this group only because, here's the thing, guys, and I will go to the injury. If, we say if Javonte Williams is due for an injury, if he goes down, I mean, this is bleak, very bleak. And
Right.
I will, for once, I will use the Drew bye week strategy, and it works more with running backs than quarterbacks. I'll counter the argument because you have to play 2 every week, and you have the option
Right.
to play even more. When Javonte Williams has his bye week, when Tony Pollard has his bye week. And like I said, Tony Pollard is the best running back in Tennessee. He should get his, but we don't know. I mean, that could very well not come to fruition 4 to 5 weeks into the season. Ali Gordon will steal a goal line touch here or there in Miami. And then, yeah, Kalen Black is really a mystery. The depth isn't awesome. I like Javonte Williams as a top tier running back. He just got a nice contract. He had a good year. Clearly, there's something going on well in the Dallas system. Schottenheimer really likes him. It's a good match. This is a lot of responsibility for Jack's running back group, though, to put on Williams to be the guy. He can be the guy in other spots if there's complementary fantasy running backs around him. That's just really not the case here. The lack of depth in the running back room. Quarterbacks, and I know I said, depth doesn't matter. I feel like you can get away with having a lack of quarterback depth more than you can get away with having a lack of running back depth. And for that reason, that's why I have it at number 13. JP, I'll let you go here with the receivers. We go from probably a not as great room for Jack's team to, in my opinion, without a doubt, his best. And we talk about having, quantity, quality, 18 wide receivers
Holy
on
shit.
Jack's roster. Not only does he have the depth, JP, he's got the top end talent too.
Yeah, I don't know where you guys are at with this, but I think this is easily the best room in the league. Not
100%.
only does he have Chase and St. Brown, which is easily uneven contested, the best wide receiver duo in our league. But I think Downs is going to take a huge step now without Pittman. They say they're going to play him more outside. That's going to be electric for him. Coker is due for a huge uptick in production now with a lot of targets to go around there. I think Stribling, with all the injury concerns out there, Pearsall done for the year. Evans automatically missing 6 games or more every season. You can count on it. I know Stribling's had some quad tightness or hip tightness or something that happens when you're 35, not 24. But he'll be fine. He's going to get a lot of play there. I love Shaheed as a flex play because any given week he can not only catch an 80-yard touchdown, but in the same week he could run a kickback. So I love him as if you're in dire need of a flex play, like Drew mentioned with the quarterbacks. He doesn't have someone to fill in those super flex weeks. On a big week, you could plug in Shaheed, hope for a big boom. That could be fun. I'm not high on Tesla. Horton is very interesting. There's a lot to be said about Torrey Horton. Lane, they're saying he's been a big standout at Ravens camp. So that's very interesting because I did not like Lane as a prospect very much. Cyrus Allen got carted off for a knee bruise. That's embarrassing. Jalen Tolbert's ass. Christian Kirk, another guy in San Francisco. We're talking about all these opportunities. Then they go and sign Deebo Samuel. I think that kind of takes away snaps that Kirk's going to get in the slot. Vele's fine as a wide receiver 3 in New Orleans, wide receiver 4. Felton's a bust. That was an awful trade, Jack. Xavier Restrepo's nothing. Nick Nash, Triple Crown winner. Jeff Caldwell, a bum. And Theo Weiss, 0 score. That's reflected in real life. I don't even know if he's on a team at this point.
I can
He's
check
a legend,
that.
baby.
I was gonna say, shout out Nick Nash, man. He's rostered in the league.
Yeah,
Is he on the
but
Falcons
Jamar
still?
Chain and ARSB are just it's absolutely filthy that he has both of them, and that's why I in the intro I alluded to being a championship hopeful. I think Jack's roster is clearly not that of a championship caliber team, but between the 2 quarterbacks and those 2 receivers, I mean there could genuinely be weeks where he's scoring 120 points between the 4 of them, and that's going to keep him in any week regardless. So. He's definitely a team that on a hot streak could have a Luke type season.
So Theo Weiss is on a team. He plays for the Dolphins.
Dolphins, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure if he was still there or not. I figured he was going to be a casualty of camp.
Last year, 6 catches, all came in the final 3 weeks of the season. His best week was week 17 when he scored 13 points. It was on a 63-yard touchdown catch.
Well, shit, man. He might be able to get on the field because no one even knows what's going to happen for that receiver room. So,
yeah, no, JP, you pretty much hit the nail on the head, though. It's my number 1 receiver room as well. Chase and St. Brown, that's unreal. And like you said, if all else fails with Jack's team, if, as Beef said, having a quarterback on a bye is a massive deal, well, he can just run out 6 wide receivers and start anyone he wants from this group on any given week. The potential is insane. Outside of the top 4, he just needs to make sure he starts Josh Downs when he's healthy. Can't have any roster infractions this year. It shouldn't be an issue. Tesla, I mean, we don't like him as a player, but he found his way last year in Detroit to have some sort of production. It wasn't super consistent, but still, if that comes around for him this year, Khalif Raymond's now with the Chicago Bears. If he takes on that Khalif Raymond-like role, that's not a bad depth piece to have. JP and I both, as he mentioned, we both raved about Torrey Horton in the draft process when he came through for Seattle. I think that's a really good fit. Another guy who just as an extra option in that offense. Lane, you mentioned, has had a really good Ravens camp, and Stribling, he's got to stay healthy. The opportunities will be there for him in San Francisco. He can get on the field and play some meaningful snaps if the opportunities are there. And we mentioned 18 is a lot. He's got the top end talent. You look at it, really, the back 5 to 6 guys are pretty much nothing burgers. You get that reference in the chat that we had a couple of days ago. But yeah, it's not much to be had there, but still, hey, I really like this room. You have the explosive plays of Shaheed as well. No doubt it's the best wide receiver group in our league.
Yeah, you guys hit on the whole. I don't really have much to say here. Got this ranked at number 1. Chase and St. Brown, great duo in this league. Gonna help him out a lot. I do see big things for Josh Downs, Coker, and Stribling. So those top 5 for him are gonna help him out a lot. And then, like JP said, Shaheed, you never know with him. He could return a 99-yard kick return or a punt return. You never know. So that's good to have him on the team. That's why the Seahawks gave him a lot of money to keep him over there. So best returner in football, and that's really all I got to say about this receiver room. There's not much more to say.
I'll get us going here with the tight ends before we get to Jack's draft picks. This is one of the few times I'm aligned with Keep Trade Cut. I do have his tight ends ranked at 12th. That might be a little low, but I don't know. It's very veteran heavy. Mark Andrews, in general, has been very disappointing the last couple of years. I mean, he hasn't been very good. I also don't think it's to the fault of his own that the tight ends have just not been very involved in Baltimore. And when they have been, they've favored Isaiah Likely. So I guess that does kind of become his problem. Likely now with New York getting that big contract. So on the contrary, you're thinking, oh, Andrews could finally have his rollback. I just really don't know what that's going to look like there for him. Hunter Henry, he's good for a couple of touchdowns a game, but Raritan's coming up on his tail now, the rookie out in New England. Who knows if he'll take over at some point. Kate Otton's good for 6 to 10 points per week. He's definitely not the guy you want as your tight end 1. He's not a bad depth option to have. And then Michael Trigg, Joe Royer, a couple of rookies to round out the group. It probably is better than the 12th best tight end room. I just think I'm much lower on Andrews and Henry, given the fact that Andrews just hasn't been very good the last couple of years. And Henry's very vulnerable there with Raritan now as a rookie out in New England, a chance to take some snaps, potentially take that job in the next year or so. And Otton's just very average. He is what he is. So it's an older group as well, average age of nearly 28 years old. I have it ranked 12th. Probably could have done 10th or 11th, maybe an extra spot or 2 higher. But yeah, just nothing super exciting. It's not like awful in a way of it's going to hurt him in any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think it's going to win him a lot of games either.
Right. I'll hop in here real quick. I got this tight end room at 10, purely because like Yak said a couple episodes ago, I think we're seeing a point in this league where the tight ends are very weak on some teams. Mark Andrews and Hunter Henry, I think they're valuable pieces for this league just because they're good veteran tight ends. But outside of that, I don't really know about Kate Otten, Michael Trigg, and Joe Royer. Mark Andrews, I think he'll have a somewhat season like he did last year. Get you a couple 10+ weeks and then a couple down weeks. Hunter Henry, same thing, 10+ points, and then you might have a couple down weeks. But other than that, I don't really have much to say about this tight end room. JP, what do you got?
I got this room at 9th. I am expecting a bounce back from Mark Andrews, given the offensive coordinator hire. He's a guy coming from a system who clearly shows they like to use tight ends. Laporta, Loveland, even Kmet got involved. So I think Andrews is primed to have a bounce back season. Hunter Henry, on the other hand, I think this is certainly his room to lose. There's not really any other competition. They drafted Eli Raritan. I've said it multiple times. I think I said it when we talked about Matt's team. My pro comp to him was Hunter Henry, funny enough. So I think it's interesting that he ends up in New England. But it's Henry's room to lose this year, but I think it's his all the way through. Raritan will probably take away snaps next year. I'm really not sure of Henry's contract. He may not even be there next year. And then Otten is always like a weird, can he find the end zone or can he not? I think that's adequate depth at tight end. It's good enough depth. It's just the top end talent's kind of lacking when your tight end 2 is Henry. So I got this room at 9th.
All righty, let's round things out here. JP, I'll let you start with the draft picks.
Yeah. What is there to talk about? I mean, I got him at 12th. He's got a second, a third, and a fourth a second in 2028, and then 2029 and 2023, third and fourth. I do also want to mention that he has the 6th youngest team in the league at 25.8. Just a little stat. But on that, I the only guys I have ranked below him are Boyer and Luke, and they have no picks. So that pretty much sums up why Jack is at 12.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm the same boat as JP. He's because Boyer and Luke don't have any picks, I have him at 12. Like I said, I mean, with these picks, they're probably going to be gone by the end of the year. If Jack's in a situation where he's going to be above 500, which I think he is. So with how Jack's structuring his team this year, I think these picks will no longer be on his team by the trade deadline. But I could be wrong. We'll see.
I mean, well, I guess I'll counter. I have them at 12th as well. You say they'll be gone at the deadline. What's the value on a 2029 fourth round pick?
Right. I
I
don't
mean,
I
according
don't
to Keep
know.
Trade Cut, it's 0.
Right. I have no idea.
For what? Sorry,
So
what'd you say?
No, he goes, B was saying how these picks will all be gone at the deadline. I mean, who's going to be out there actively saying, oh, yeah, I'll take a 2029 fourth round pick in the deal?
Hey, I will, Jack. Hit my line. I'm always willing to take late round picks.
I mean, Wade might take him.
You
He
get
likes
my
those
point,
third and
though.
fourths.
You get my point, though. I can't believe we've said this already. I can't believe we're in a world where we're talking about 2029 draft picks in this league. That hurts, considering the fact that we had our inaugural draft at the end of the summer of 2022. That is very brain hurting to say the least. Let's get on. If we don't have anything else to add, guys, I think we can get on to our team awards for Jack's squad.
Yep.
And I'll start us with the team MVP. I don't really think it's up for debate. Jamar Chase. I mean, he is the guy in fantasy football in terms of wide receiver. It was a great offseason acquisition for Jack. Got him right. We opened up the new league year. Never thought we'd see the day where Jamar Chase would change hands, but he did. And I think Jack would do that deal 100 million times over again. I don't think you can put anyone else as the MVP of this team other than Jamar Chase. That guy is going to single-handedly win him plenty of games this year. Not single-handedly, but he's going to be a big reason why Jack wins a lot of games. And that's not dissing the rest of his team. That's just how elite Jamar is. We've seen him go for 50 points. That's, completely game-changing. It alters the trajectory of Jack's team. It puts him in a position to be in the playoff hunt this year very firmly in terms of what he could do. He's elite. He's one of the best, and it's a no-brainer for his team MVP.
Yeah, I also have Jamar Chase as the MVP. Nothing else to add. You covered everything.
Yeah, I also have Jamar Chase. I don't need to add anything. He's a stud. He's going to get you 20 plus points most likely every week. So,
Beef, who's the or the breakout? Let's do breakout. Who's the breakout here?
yeah, I got two. I got Jalen Coker. Obviously, I think his role is, we saw him kind of break out last year for Carolina, but I think his role is going to expand in Carolina this year. I think he's going to be that receiver too there along by Tet, and I think his role is going to expand. But I do think Stribling will have a role in San Fran this year with Pearsall going down. I think he's going to be a sneaky breakout. I know he's a rookie, so you can't really say. I mean, I guess you could say he's a breakout, but I do think he's going to be sneaky this year and could be a good guy for Jack's team this year. JP?
Yeah, I also had Jalen Coker. I think he's like I mentioned during the wide receiver portion. They gave him a contract to stay after being a UDFA, which is always sick to see. There's really no other wide receiver there that is. Brazo goes down. We've already seen Leggett is kind of helpless at this point. He's a deer in headlights. Coker, reliable hands, showed up big time in the playoffs. And that's the thing with Coker is not only not only has he been good since he got in the NFL, but I think he's gotten progressively better. You've seen it on the tape, and I think this year we're talking about him, or going into the 2027 season, I think we're going to be talking about Coker as one of the top 4 slot receivers in the entire NFL.
Yeah, I have Coker as well. It's a pretty easy decision. Is there a little bias there because he's a Beaverfest follower, of course? But I mean, the guy just got that big contract. It's only a matter of time before he, gets into an even bigger role in Carolina. They're trending upward. I know Beav is the biggest Bryce Young hater of all time, but there's no doubt about it that he is going to continue to ascend and very much is worth every dollar that Carolina gave him. And there's no doubt that he can become an even bigger playmaker on the field than what we've already seen from him in the past season. So no doubt about that there. JP, I want to get you here. Start us off with the X factor. Who's the X factor for Jack's team?
Yeah, for me, the X factor has to be Josh Downs. If we go back to his 2024 tape, 8 out of the 17 weeks he played, he scored 14 points or more. That's consistency. That's what you like to see. That's what you would like to see consistently. That's what you want to see. Those other weeks though, he was 12 points and under, and I think outside of 1 week it was really 9 points and under. So it's really going to be interesting. I know they plan to use him in a bunch of different ways this year. So if Downs hits a different kind of ceiling and gets that 2024 production more consistently, I think not only does Jack already have the best wide receiver room in the league, but we're possibly talking about a big 3 with Chase, St. Brown, and Downs. And then if Downs, if Downs is playing how he played last year and barely getting involved in the offense, which I don't think is going to be the case, but it's still a possibility if we take last year's sample and look at it now. If that's what ends up happening here, I think Jack's going to struggle to not only push for the playoffs, but then hypothetically he makes the playoffs as a 7 seed. I think who's ever the 2 seed is laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, my X factor, I got Tony Pollard. If DeBull can get him back to his prime form, I think he's going to be special for Jack's team. If the Titans offense looks a little better from last year, he's going to be fun to watch this year, I think. I feel like if they can let him do his thing, I think he's going to surprise some people and be a good fantasy asset for Jack this year.
I'm going to stay in the running back room, but I'm going to go Javonte Williams. He's got, in terms of for Jack's team specifically, he's got even that much more pressure to be a really elite running back and have a season like he did last year. Hoping he's not due for an injury, but if he goes down or if he doesn't produce consistently in the way that he did last year, I mean, this is a situation where, similar to what you talked about, Drew, if there's an injury in the quarterback room, um, Jack doesn't have the assets in terms of draft picks to wheel and deal. He'll have to pluck from that wide receiver room if he needs to acquire another quarterback. Same to be said for the running back position. If either Javonte doesn't produce in that way, he doesn't come through as a running back one, or if he does miss some time at some point this season, I think this team obviously will go as far as the wide receivers can carry it, but you can't have nothing in terms of production from the running back room. And if Williams isn't that staple at the very top of it, it's going to be a rough go at it in terms of trying to just revamp the running back room, make adjustments mid-season. I'll round us out here with the disappointment for Jack's team. I'm going to go the entire tight end room. Like I said, I know it's not an awful group by any means, but it just doesn't do a lot for me. I think, JP talked about Doyle now being the OC, calling the shots in Baltimore. And yes, while he has got tight ends involved in the past, I think Andrews has just lost a step. And I think that still is not going to be the outcome that most fantasy owners are hoping from him this year. And I don't know. I'm just not super high on this tight end room. I don't think they're going to produce in the way that they're expected to.
Yeah, I'll hop in here real quick. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this guy's a disappointment, but for how much hate I have for this guy, my disappointment's Kalen Black. For him taking him in the first round, I just don't see him being a first round production this year. But as we've all said, this draft this year was probably the worst we've ever had in Beaverfest for our rookie draft. So, I mean, he obviously has to have some thought process for drafting him. So I hope he surprises me and proves me wrong. But I just don't see him being a lot of production for a first round pick to help this team out this year.
Yeah, I have the disappointment as Javonte Williams. I kind of alluded to it during the running back portion. I just think there's going to be a regression in the production that he had. I know the defense got better. They're probably going to be in a lot more ground and pound kind of games, but then the script becomes predictable. I think unless, those dog fights last year, the defense being bad, Dallas having to score 35 points to win, that's what helped him, get to that fantasy status of being an RB1. I can't believe they have him as RB20. I just want to go on the record. I absolutely hate keep trade cut and the way they go about this. It is so bad. It is so bad. Whatever. It is so bad. But anyways, Javonte Williams is my disappointment.
There you have it. The positional group rankings, draft pick rankings, and team awards for Jack's squad. We'll come back, look through his schedule, and wrap out this episode right here on the Just Beavin Podcast. Rounding out the pod here, looking at Jack's schedule, we're going to go over the floor, the ceiling, what we think the record will be for May Needs Beers here in 2026, as well as just matchups that excite in general. JP, your floor, your ceiling, and your final record prediction for Mr. Bauer here in 2026.
Yeah, I have his floor at 6-8. I have his ceiling at 11-3.
Wow.
I have my actual prediction for him at 8-6.
Okay. I'll give mine, and then we'll let Drew run through the entire schedule because that was really awesome in the last episode. My floor is also 6 wins. My ceiling is only 9 for Jack. I think he finishes with either 7 or 8. As we talked about, the receiver room, there's so much to love here. It's very exciting. He's got the best receiver group in the league. St. Brown and Chase can really single-handedly carry him in certain weeks and be the X factor, be the reason why he wins. It's just the quarterbacks and the running backs need to stay healthy and need to produce at a consistent level. And Jack's definitely a playoff threat. There's certainly no doubt about it. He could very well make a run this year. 9 wins, I think, is the max. I think 7 or 8 is probably what we're looking at for him here as one of the final spots. But at the same time, like JP said, he's got his ceiling at 11. 10 wins shouldn't be out of the question. I just think more 9 is where we're leaning. Beav, your floor, your ceiling, and then I want to have you run through the schedule.
Yeah, looking at these first 5 games, I see him. He could potentially go 5-0, but how fantasy works, I don't think he's gonna go 5-0. So I think I'm gonna go with JP. I think the ceiling's 11-3. I think the floor is 7-7. Well, we can run through it. Okay, so I got Ty against Ty. I got him a W. Dade, I don't think we even need to go through this. That's a W. Ippy, good old OD. I think that's a W. So 3-0. This is where I think he gets his first loss. I think he loses to Kruk week 4. You don't think so? All right. 3-1.
You had Kruk beating him in Kruk's video, right?
Oh, did I? I see. I don't know.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like I'm making sure we're keeping it consistent. I believe, right, JP? He had Cam beating Jack not once but twice.
I think he was talking about Crook's ceiling.
Okay.
I gotta start keeping track. I gotta start keeping track of these if we start doing these.
This is why it's easy if you just do a floor and a ceiling.
Right. Well, we can run through this one. We're already halfway through. All right, we'll go 4-1. I think he beats Matt. I think he takes a loss to JP, 4-2. This is a highlight of Jack's schedule. This is gonna be a fun matchup against Luke. This is gonna test Jack's team if he's really made of something or if he's at the bottom. Not necessarily the bottom, but middle of the pack. I think he loses to Luke, so 4-3. Plays Kruk again. I think he beats Kruk, so 5-3. Plays me. I'm gonna give him a loss, 5-4. Frank, 5-5. JP, 5-6. Hunley Champs. I think he gets him here. 6-7. Yeah, you guys get the meme.
6-6.
Oh, 6-6. You're right. Sorry. Scat Squad. This is where he gets his other win. 7-6. And Tigers, what I believe that is Wade. So that's 8 wins. So I guess JP out on the horn, 8-6. I said floor 7-7. Go either way. I know I wrapped out at 8-6, but
there you go, Jack. There's your path to 8 wins according to Beef.
There you go. I still think his floor is 7-7. Whether he actually loses to Cam week 4 or loses to Luke as I gave him a win in week 12. But hey, it's fantasy football, guys. You never know what's going to happen. He can go 14-0 for all we know. So,
Yeah, me personally, I'm pretty thrilled I don't play Jack this year. Just because that receiver room alone. I've already lost games because of Jamar Chase scoring 50 points in the history of this league. I don't really need that happening again. But a very interesting team, guys. A very interesting team. JP, before we get out of here, any matchups on this schedule excite you, interest you?
Yeah, I think Drew kind of alluded to it. I think both matchups versus Luke are a good litmus test, as well as I think both matchups versus Crook are a good litmus test. I think Luke's in a different, a tier above Jack, and Crook's in a tier below. So depending on how he matches up with both of them, I think will determine his season.
All righty. There you have it, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in to another edition here of the Just Beavin Podcast, looking at Jack Squad number 8 in our power rankings here as we enter the 2026 season. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning, these are scheduled to come out as we get into our 5th year as a league and 3rd year as a podcast. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Just Beavin Podcast.